Hello, I'm Cleveland,
And I am Isaac.
and we are a couple of the devs from Bounce Back Games, which is a student game development team, or was a student game development team. We actually just recently graduated from the University of Utah from the Division of Games. And this is our game Pogo Rogue, which was our senior capstone project. It's actually in early access right now on Steam. It's free, so you guys can all check it out and play. I was one of the producers as well as really focused on the business and the marketing side of things. And Isaac,
Yeah, I was the lead designer and programmer for the player mechanics, the items, and the game's UI.
yep, and that's what we're going to be focusing on in this playthrough. Um, as you know, that's what Isaac really focused on and was in charge of. We obviously have more people on the team besides us two. There was 24 of us in all, and we'll try to get some more dev talks or dev discussions with them in the future. But Isaac, how about you? How about you explain to us what some of these movement and basic player mechanics are?
Right. So right off the bat, I just want to explain the player's movement system real quick. So as you can see, your pogo stick is also a gun here. um, and the twist is that every time you bounce, your gun reloads. So here you can see I have two weapons currently equipped, about to equip a new one. So I'm going to replace the pistol with this new weapon I picked up, the javelins. So the shotgun has 2 bullets and does really high damage in a short range spread. And the javelins, there are 4 javelins, and they're more kind of pinpoint precise, long range weapon. So every time you bounce and every time you kill an enemy, your current weapon reloads. And so that is kind of one of the core features of Pogo Rogue is that there are lots of ways to reload your weapons and go really fast and kind of zip through the level at really high speeds and with high precision. As you can see, I am quite good at the game. I've had lots of time to be able to practice my mastery of the mechanics. But right now we are just watching a run that I thought went fantastically. So right off the bat, we already got some of my favorite items in the game, and some of the items that I'm best with. So I'll kind of just explain a few of them real quick. One of the items we got, and one of which you'll see a little bit more of here, is the burst fire gun. Or that's the weapon we picked up, but one of the passive items we also got that helps with the burst fire gun was something called rubber bullets. And rubber bullets cause the bullets to bounce off of the ground one time, so given that one of the kind of twists of Pogo Rogue is that you can only fire below you, so you want to kind of maneuver above enemies, here's an item that kind of flips the script on that. And because I found it so early in the run, that kind of changes the way I approach this run. And so, like, now that I have this burst fire gun that bounces everywhere and can kind of make things a lot easier for me, this run is going really well. In addition to that, I picked up a different type of item called an active item, and this one is called Fire Dash. So you'll probably see me use it here in a sec, but it is a very good active item, probably my favorite in Area 1. But yeah, there you go. There's the Fire Dash in action. And here's another example of great items being put to use because I got a passive item called Triple Threat, which allows me to hold 3 weapons, and I also just picked up another fantastic weapon called the Grenade Launcher, which is especially good for the upcoming boss battle that you guys are going to see. So here we just reached the shop. Cleveland, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the shop?
Yeah, of course. So in the shop, you can see that you can buy a couple of health, passive weapons, and active items. You can also refresh, which I believe you will do here in a bit, which increases the price of the refresh itself. And this kind of goes back into that how do you want to play, right? If you decide to approach it a bit more slowly, maybe focusing on your combos rather than just flying through a level, you should be able to get more money, which helps you buy more items, which can help you in your run. But obviously if you get in a groove, maybe you just want to keep going faster. And, player experience is a really important part of Pogo Rogue, and so we really wanted to hone in on something that speedrunners would enjoy, which is, why we have that timer up in the corner, and why you might want to try to just fly through the level rather than really approach it carefully. But either way, there's a playstyle that should work for you, right?
Yep. I think that's kind of one of the great things that we were able to do with this game is just provide a ton of variability in the items and the opportunities for playstyle, so that there's a lot of different um, ways that this game can appeal to people. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why we've seen there's no real consensus favorite weapon. There are some
Hmm.
weapons that are certainly more powerful than others in certain ways, like the boomerangs here, especially when combined with the added ammo power up, which gives you an extra boomerang, which is huge with how the boomerang works. Um, but yeah, some people might really like the boomerang, but other people might really love the kind of slow precision that the grenade launcher gives and the high damage output that it has. Um, so there's a ton of ways to play this game. We have other items like the parachute, which might not be as suitable for a high-level speedrunner, since it's not exactly a fast item. Um, but for somebody who's just learning the mechanics and might have trouble falling down the level, the parachute could be a great item for them and help them get further than they've ever gotten before. There's a lot of different types of players taken into account with Pogo Rogue, and even though it's a very difficult game, um, we've found a wide range of uh, an audience that can really enjoy the game, from people who aren't the best gamers and people who are, hardcore speedrunners as well.
Exactly. It's been a lot of fun to see people play and enjoy the game. And like you were saying, just take into account different ways of playing it. With the weapons on and how integrated they are into the movement system, that means any weapon you choose can completely change how you'll want to play the game. Even more so than I think some other roguelites that are out there, because of that platforming aspect of Pogo Rogue. Here we are. We're just getting into the first boss fight, Constructus, the Brick Hive, which, as you'll see here soon, is you need to damage the outer layers of the boss in order to eventually expose the core that will actually do the damage itself. We have 3 bosses. We won't go too deep into those bosses right now, as that's something that we can do in a later video, but each of them are really unique and integrate the movement in a unique way, which is really fun.
Right. And so I am actually going quite easy here because the grenade launcher is absolutely fantastic in terms of defeating Constructus, but I wanted to provide a little bit more gameplay footage for this boss. So I went a little bit easy here. But yeah, grenade launcher is a game changer versus Constructus.
Which is another way of changing up your gameplay, because you'll find out as you play that some weapons do better in some situations, which obviously is why it's nice to have access to 2 different ones so you can switch between them. I know personally when I play through, I usually like to have one weapon specifically for navigating around a level, and then one weapon that sometimes I'll switch out depending on which boss I know is coming up.
Yep, and the fact that you can switch weapons at any point is definitely a huge factor in how we've designed the movement of Pogo Rogue. So there are so many different weapons that are used for completely different purposes, because each weapon isn't just a new way of attacking enemies, it's also a completely unique way of moving. Every weapon has its own unique movement feel, and so you kind of have to approach things totally differently. So there might be some situations where really close range, highly precise weapons, like there's one called the bubble gun that's great for that, and I really like using that, but it's not exactly the most like, you can't exactly shred enemies as much as, say, the grenade launcher, or something like
Missile
the
launcher.
slime blaster, missile launcher, exactly. So you never know what weapons you're going to find on a run, so you'll have to kind of change the way you approach any given run based on the items that are given to you, and that's kind of how we leaned into the randomness of the roguelike tag that we've given to the game.
Exactly, and it's something that we'd love to hear from you guys. Just what weapons you enjoy, what aspects of the game you find very enjoyable. As I mentioned before, it is on Steam right now, free early access. It will also be, when it's actually released, free as well. And also make sure to subscribe if you found this video interesting. We will be making more game dev talks in the future or game dev discussions in the future, as well as just other notes about the project in general.
And look forward to more content in the future.
Exactly. Bye-bye.